Hi guys, welcome back for another video, and for today we will be having our first ever question and answer vlog. So these questions come from my peers, friends, colleagues from the academe, as well as my friends on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So before we start answering the questions, please do not forget to like this video, click the subscribe button, and ring that notification bell for our future uploads. So just a heads up for everyone. So whenever I answer the questions, I'll be code switching. So pwede na ta gamit o Bisaya, pwede sa Filipino, pwede po English, depende kung asa ako comfortable to answer the question. And aside from that one, I hope that you will be respecting my questions if ever the my answers, if the questions are too serious, if the questions are too technical, at the same time if it's political or somehow subjective. So if you want or to know my answers, and if you're interested with this video, please watch until the end of the video. So let us start now with our first question coming from Ernie on Twitter. So yung question is, kumusta naman ka, sir? So that's the first question that I'll be answering for today. So I am fine, I'm great, I'm doing well. I'm trying to make myself sane and mentally healthy, because the situation right now is really eating us, right? To the point that we are somehow feeling anxious, we are feeling depressed, because we do not really know what to do during this situations. This is really a difficult time for us. So I'm very fine, I'm doing great as much as possible. I'm protecting my mental health, Char. And I hope everybody is also doing that one, because that is very important. Let us not make this situation as depressing, unhealthy, or very sad, because it is only us suffering whenever we do that. So thank you so much for asking if how am I? So I'll return the question to you. How are you, Ernie? Okay. Now let's proceed to the second question. The second question comes from David, an architecture student from CITU. So ang question is, sir, when ang kasal? Char. Haha. Okay, so to tell you honestly, and if we have that one very practical, I'm not yet thinking about wedding for this particular time. Maybe I'm not yet ready. My friends are already having their wedding. They're happy right now with their marriage life. However, for me, I think I'm not yet embracing the idea of wedding. Not because I'm not open for it, but because it's impractical for me. It's far from reality. Okay? I think we're not yet ready. It's really important for us to feel prepared, ready mentally, physically, spiritually, and of course financially. Okay, we need a big amount of money for our wedding. So for this question, let's try to look for ways on how to make that possible. But I'm very open to any possibility of that kind of stuff. Next question is from Moy Moy or at Neljoji on Twitter. Sir, kung papilion ka, tap water or cold water, nganong red horse man? Okay. So just a disclaimer, dili day ko pala hubog, maka-inom lang ko once a week. Okay? So di ko pala hubog, I'm not drinking every day. I'm drinking occasionally. So every week na siya occasion. Okay? We make our own occasion. So anong red horse man atong pilion instead of other drinks? So of course, red horse makes us strong. Red horse makes us brave enough to confess our feelings to other people, diba? It makes us confident. So aside from, there is a proof that, of course, I'm not really a drunkard, but I drink occasionally. Wait. Ate, pakita itong kuan. Resibo. Mga resibo sa inom. Here. Whenever I go out with my friends, of course, we always drink Red Horse, to be honest. Di ta maginilas, di ta magpakalimpyo, mag-inom man jud ta, magtagay man jud ta. But usually I drink, yes, Bacardi Gold. During this pandemic, I already consumed 3 bottles of Bacardi Gold. And as well as here, yeah. Dili kita mag-regret na inim nun. But if kung nahan lang kong chill, kanila nga itong imnon. Mga chilling times. If we want to ponder on something or we want to relax, kana lang. Kani siya, I'm trying to drink this, pero ingon ako mga friends, mag-regret daw ka at the end. Okay, so I'm still trying to think if ato ni siyang i-consume. Pero ano siya, half na lang, or should I say, padung na siyang makurot. Man. It's okay to drink, just drink moderately. Okay? So, mo na siya. So, mo to akong mga reasons kano mo pili ta sa Red Horse. Okay. So, for the next question, this one is personal question. But, of course, I'll be answering this one with all honesty. Because this was my experience before, way back elementary days. So the question comes from May Ann. Her question is, Sir, nakasuway na bakag na ibog kag babay? Okay. To be honest, I did experience having a crush. Not literally ibog yun nga murag ning ka nga naka emotional attachment to the person, but you're admiring the person. I admire the person. I had a crush on that person way back grade 5 and grade 6, if I'm not mistaken. For grade 5, her name is Lynette Garcia. We were classmates in grade 5, then in grade 6, Mary Grace, if I'm not mistaken. So the situations are both similar. I confessed, then wala na naming tagal until now. So that's the reason why I shifted to another gender. Okay? So maybe the fate or the situation or the experience made me shift. Okay. So relevant to this question from me, and another question from Danica Palacios is, this is my friend from Japan, a very successful woman. Are you open with the idea of dating a girl? So since I already had an experience of having a crush with a girl, so I'm very open to any possibility that I will be having a date with a girl in the future. We don't know when, but I'm very open for that one. I think there's nothing wrong with having a date, a friendly date with a girl, for as long as mag-KKB kita, kanya-kanyang bayad. Okay? So kung mangaon ta, ikay mo bayad sa imong i-order, ako mo bayad sa kuha para wala tayo kwentahay. Okay? Pero natin mga friends ng girls or even students ng girls who confess that they had a crush on me. Yes, naslay crush ako sa una. Okay, so I'm not really, it's not intimidating, it's not awkward. I appreciate that act. I appreciate the confession nga they had a crush on me. Shoot pa kayo. Okay? But of course, I'm not closing my doors, my windows, or any open spaces, open objects to any possibility of having a date in the future with a girl. Okay? Date raman siya, di man siya relationship. Anyway, so that's it. Next question is from Sane Hugilon. He asked if what is the difference between under and below. So I'll answer this question very simple. When we use the word or when we use the preposition under, it only means that there is an object above another object. So for example, if this is the first object above, then there is another object, for example this remote. We will use under if the remote control is really under a certain object, the surface of the object. So the remote control or the remote controller is under the box of a face mask. So that's how you do it. For example, if we are also under a tree, we would say, I am under a tree, not I am below a tree. So that is wrong. But when we use the preposition below, it only means that the two objects are not in the same level. Okay, so if for example, if we have here this one, the box of a face mask and the remote control, so meaning they are not really in the same level, but instead the remote control is lower and the first object is higher. So we would say the remote control is below the box of face mask. So that's how you are going to differentiate the two prepositions. And please do not be confused on using them. Okay? Maybe they have similarities in terms of idea or definition, but there are certain ways on how to use them. So that's how you're going to use under and below. So Saint Hogilon has another question. This is, what is euphoria, or what is the definition of euphoria? So way back 2017, when I applied in University of Cebu and got hired, I belonged to the social sciences department, and they gave me philosophy as my subject to teach. So I am really an English teacher, an English major, but because the number of English teachers were overwhelming that time, so I was assigned to teach social science course or subject. So that is philosophy. So when I taught philosophy in senior high school, grade 11, during their time, the last part of philosophy is discussing suffering, happiness, and death. Okay, so the most interesting parts of philosophy is to understand the concept of happiness, the concept of suffering, and the concept of death, which is the last destination of all human beings or all creatures in the world. So talking about euphoria, when we say euphoria, that is the feeling of happiness, feeling of well-being. Okay? But during way back, the time of Aristotle said that the purpose as to why a person exists is to feel happy or to acquire happiness, aside from the luxurious materials or things that we acquire, the wealth that we have, or even the successes that we experience in our lives. So when the moment we live with that life, we need to really feel happy. There are also another words associated with euphoria, which is eudaimonia, which is the extreme happiness or extreme feeling of well-being. So there is a little difference between when you say you're happy or you're feeling the eudaimonia or euphoria. When you feel happy, it only means it's really low in terms of the degree. But when you feel euphoria or you feel eudaimonia, it means that you're very happy, or extreme happiness is circulating in your system. So that's what we call euphoria. So I hope you have understood the concept of euphoria in philosophy. It was really a good experience. I had a lot of activities during my philosophy classes, most especially in UMS 1A, UMS 2A, as well as STEM 6A, which Saint Hogilon belongs. Okay, now let's proceed now to the next question. This one is about a personal experience of my student, which she asked. This is Diane from Twitter. Okay, so she asked, Sir, ganong ara raman makaingon ang tao nga gamahi siya nga gipanguyaban niya ang usa ka tao if nagbuwag na? Okay, so the first thing here is I'd like to ask, nganong mag-regret man ta nga manguyab ta og usa ka tao? Okay, or nanguyab ta og usa ka tao if you have ended your relationship? First thing that we need to remember, you have that feeling of security, happiness, love the moment you confess your feelings to other person and you courted that person. Aww. Meaning the time you feel that, there should already be commitment. Commitment not only because you are in a relationship, but because you mean every word, every actions that you do towards that person. Okay, commitment is the question there. If you regret at the end of your relationship, meaning there is no strong structure, there's no strong commitment that you put in your relationship. Okay, so meaning the only reason why people regret courting that person once they ended, it's because the feeling is not really true. The feeling is not authentic, it's not genuine. So it's better to stop than to continue, because at the end of the day, you'll hurt yourself, or each or both party will get hurt, I mean. So that's it. So do not ever regret if ever that you are in a relationship, okay? Because you're there because you love each other, you're there because you support each other, you're there because you want to grow with each other. So that's it. Next is this one. We are now down to our serious questions. We have 3 serious questions. So this question comes from Danica Palacios. Again, my successful friend in Japan. So her question is, what do you think of the Philippine government? So my stand about this kind of issue is somehow different with others, because somehow they are fanatics, or they are really supporters of the president or the entire Philippine government. However, we need to be realistic. We need to face reality that the government is somehow showing incompetence every time that they are going to decide, or they're going to implement certain policies or laws in the country which are not beneficial to all Filipino people. Okay? For example, the passing of the anti-terrorism law, even the way they are going to solve the pandemic that we are experiencing right now worldwide. There are a lot of circumstances that they have not really gave an assurance to the Filipino people that we are safe, we are secured, or we will be experiencing well-being during this time. Okay? Even the government agencies have already told the public or the mass that they don't have really enough source or fund to support the Filipino people. For that reason, our Filipino brothers and sisters are doing their own ways to survive during these trying times. So basically, there is really a question that we could ask to the government. What are they really trying to do to those unfortunate, underprivileged, or less fortunate Filipino people in order for them to survive? Right? Remember that our economy right now is suffering, which means our companies or other companies are already permanently closing their companies because they don't have enough options to really survive during this pandemic. Others are really trying hard to really survive and compensate their employees just to make sure that no one will lose their jobs. One thing that I'm very disappointed is when the spokesperson of the president tries to sugarcoat every statement that he does or he says to the mass or to the public. We don't need sugar-coated statements. We don't need sugar-coated spills just to let us feel that we are secure, we are safe from this pandemic. We need reality, we need facts, we need serious information about what is really the current situation of the Philippines, right? And they don't really need to create a wall or a blurry wall just to cover their mistakes or their lapses during this pandemic. So to make it short, the government, what I feel about the government right now, or the Philippine government, is that they show incompetence for their plans, for their probable solutions to end this pandemic. And you cannot blame the Filipino people to give their critics towards the government or even compare one country to another, because at the end of the day, it will just end up the same. The Philippine government and the other countries' government will always be the same. It only matters to the leadership that our leaders are showing to the constituents. So that's it. So next serious question that is coming from, or this is coming from my schoolmate in Cagayan College way back 2011, if I'm not mistaken, Lord John. So his answer, he's questioning me, do you consider yourself successful? So the answer there is of course yes. To be honest, I'm very ambitious, I am very goal-oriented, goal-driven. I always make sure that every time that I will be going on to my life, there is a goal that I want to achieve. So right after college, for example, right after college or after graduation, I made sure that I need to land for a teaching job instead of going to another jobs that are not relevant or related to my degree. So from that particular moment, I made sure that every time that I'll do something, there should always be a fruit of my labor. So after graduating, I landed in a teaching job. Right after that one, I passed the board exam, go to my dream school, then right after that one, continue studying until I graduated my master's, and right now I'm taking my PhD program. So with those particular course of action in my existence, I believe that I am already successful. But of course, not successful enough to the point that I could say that I am already contented or there is already contentment, because sometimes I really ask myself, what's my purpose? Okay, what are the other things that I can do aside from teaching, aside from learning, or aside from this one? Because you cannot really deny the fact that the moment that you enter adulthood, or if you are already experienced adulting, you'll always have this thought at the back of your mind, what else can I do? Right? So that's it. Sometimes you need to really be existentialist. You need to question your purpose. You need to question your existence. You need to question your purpose, because that's the way that you can really ponder on your life. That's the time that you can really look into different perspectives as to where do you really belong. Okay? Because sometimes people in our generation right now, the moment that they are going to do this and they fail, they easily give up or they easily give in. So that's it. That would lead us now to our last serious question, or the last question for this Q&A vlog, which is coming from my student, Ashley Arisgado. So her question is, what's the hardest part of adulting? So aside from the fact that you will be considered as the breadwinner of the family, you will be paying the bills, paying your own personal needs and wants, or budgeting in general, one thing that is very difficult as an adult or when you enter adulting is that the sense of responsibility. Okay, the sense of responsibility is very broad. It encompasses different aspects of life. For example, decisions of your life, the choices that you make, or even other things that would lead to either positive or negative result. So the sense of responsibility gives us the idea that we need to be very certain or very focused in everything that we do. For example, if we choose to be this one, are we sure that it will long last, or are we sure that it will really give us a positive consequence or result that would make us happy? Okay? And make sure that when you do something, make sure you're happy. Okay? Because I believe that when you're happy, you're very willing to exert effort, to do everything just for that thing to happen and for you to achieve all the things that you have said from the very beginning. So that's it. So decide wisely, of course. Okay? And make sure that whenever you are going to face struggles, obstacles, or even challenges, do not easily give in with the problems. Make sure that you are going to list down all the possible solutions that you may have. Okay? One thing that I have learned when I was still a facilitator in Sudbury TS, in the year 2014 until 2017 or 2018, if I'm not mistaken, 5 years of teaching CBTS, one thing I've learned is that you need to provide numerous solutions to your problems if they occur. Okay, if there are 26 or 28 letters in the alphabet, you need to have 26 or 28 solutions in your list. Do not easily give up when solution number letter A or option letter A does not work, because letter B, letter C work. Okay? Until such time, you will really locate and find that certain and appropriate and best solution every time that you will experience problems. So that's it. So to those who are still experiencing their puberty or they're still in their teenage years, enjoy your life, but of course you need to be responsible enough in everything that you do, because at the end of the day you'll regret does not come first, it always comes last. Okay, so that's it. I think we're done with our question and answer vlog. I hope you've learned something from my answers. Those are the honest answers that I could give to you based on the questions given to me by my friends on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. But before we end this video, I'll give a shout out to my student, Saint Hogilon from Southwestern University. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy and learn something. But before we end, please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment, and see you in our next video.